Imagine standing near a fire 100,000 years ago. Across from you, someone catches your eye, holds it a half second too long, then looks away smiling. You feel your chest tighten. You have no language for what you're feeling, but your body already knows exactly what to do next. You shift your weight. You laugh slightly louder than the joke deserved. You find a reason to walk past them again. None of this was taught. None of it was invented last week on an app. It's older than fire, older than language, possibly older than our own species. Today, flirting looks like a held gaze across a room, a perfectly timed text, a playlist shared at the right moment. Strip away the phones, the language, even the clothes, and the underlying behavior barely changes. So the question isn't really, how did ancient humans flirt? It's, why does flirting look almost identical no matter how far back you go? Let's start with the body. Primatologists studying chimpanzees and bonobos, our closest living relatives, have documented something called social grooming. One individual picks through another's fur, removing dirt and parasites. It looks practical. Grooming releases endorphins in both animals, and researchers have found it's used far more often to build trust and signal interest than to actually clean fur. Early humans almost certainly did the same thing. Long before we had words for affection, we had hands. Touch came first. Then, around 100,000 years ago, something changes in the archaeological record. At Blombos Cave in South Africa, archaeologists found pierced shell beads, dozens of them, deliberately strung and worn as jewelry. Around the same period, at sites in Israel called Skul and Kafza, similar shell ornaments turn up, some stained with red ochre. This wasn't decoration for decoration's sake. You can't eat them. You can't hunt with them. Their only purpose is to be seen by someone else. And here's where it gets really interesting. Ochre doesn't just show up near tools and hearths, it shows up on human bodies. Traces on skeletal remains suggest it was applied directly to skin, likely as one of the earliest forms of cosmetics. Humans were manufacturing that signal on purpose over 100,000 years before anyone invented a mirror. So by this point, humans had touch and had visual display. But there was a third piece missing: proof. Because here's the problem with signaling interest. Anyone can fake it. Evolutionary biologists call this the handicap principle. If a signal is going to be trusted, it has to cost something real. A shell necklace took hours to drill by hand with a stone point. Ochre had to be mined, ground, and carried from sources sometimes hundreds of miles away. The effort was the point. You weren't just saying you were interested, you were proving it with your time. At several Upper Paleolithic sites across Europe, archaeologists have found rare, high-effort objects. Carved ivory pendants, imported amber, buried with individuals who show no other unusual status markers. The leading interpretation isn't wealth or rank. It's courtship. Objects traded from one person to another as proof of effort, attention, and intent. The same impulse that makes you spend an hour picking the right gift. Then there is dances. Anthropologists studying modern hunter-gatherer groups, including the Hadza in Tanzania, have observed synchronized group dancing that reliably precedes pairing off between individuals. And there's no reason to think it started recently. Cave sites in France show worn, packed earth floor patterns in circular formations, consistent with repeated group dancing dating back tens of thousands of years. And then the biggest reveal of all. Around 50,000 years ago, modern humans expanding out of Africa encountered Neanderthals already living across Europe and Asia. We know because of genetic evidence sequenced from ancient DNA that these two separate human species didn't just meet. They interbred. Most people alive today carry somewhere between 1 and 2% Neanderthal DNA. That means at some point, a human and a Neanderthal, two different species, found each other attractive enough to cross a boundary that should have kept them apart entirely. Flirting didn't just shape relationships within our species. It blurred the line between species. So here's the full picture. Touch came first, borrowed from grooming behavior shared with our primate ancestors. Then came display, ochre and shell jewelry designed purely to be seen. Then came proof, gifts and effort too costly to fake. Then came rhythm, dance as a live test of compatibility. And these behaviors was powerful enough to bring two entirely different human species together. So next time you catch someone's eye across a room, and you feel that same tightening in your chest, the one you have no real words for, remember, you're not doing anything new. You're running software that's been tested for over 100,000 years, refined across every human who ever lived long enough to pass it on. The glance, the laugh, the gift, the rhythm. None of it was invented. All of it was inherited.